Will Asher Morgan, Nova Scotia, Canada. My biggest dream is to be living in Los Angeles, alternating back and forth between LA and the Big Island. I'm a healer. I'm an energy worker. I want to be able to be living somewhere with palm trees and warmth and sunlight and just good people, just really good people. And just be able to do the healing work, the energy work that I do. Just to be able to bring the light in and just awaken joy in other people's lives. I just need to be somewhere with sunlight and lots and lots of animals, dogs and cats, and a beach and palm trees and sand and lots of queer folk and fabulous creative, wonderful artists and just space, breathable, beautiful, wonderful space. I want to be able to have time and the freedom and the creativity and the inspiration to be inspired, to write and create and just play, just completely play with the gorgeousness of life. If I could say one thing to the Echelon, it would be that I am so grateful for all of you. If it wasn't for you, I don't think I'd still be here. The Echelon gave me a place to belong, a community, more than friends. You guys have been chosen family. When I first became part of this fan base, when I first became Echelon, it was meeting quote-unquote random strangers throughout the world and just meeting someone in line for the first 5 minutes turns into 12 hours in line. By the end of it, they're your best friends. They're people you'd do anything for, and it's just amazing how every single show has become a family reunion. I've some of my the closest people in my life. Some of my oldest friends are Echelon, and it just fills me with so much joy. I'm so grateful to all of you. So thank you. My most memorable show from This Is War era. It's been a huge journey. I did a lot of shows during This Is War. If I've counted correctly, I did 22 shows on This Is War, and they've all kind of blurred together into this crazy mishmash of awesome. Memorable moments. Atlantic City in 2010. September, I believe. Yes, September 4th. I was, at barrier, jumping up and down, going crazy as usual. And I just remember a comment from Jared being all like, hey, this is going to be a fucking crazy show. I want this to be so crazy. This is going to turn into a fucking strip show. And at that moment, I got slammed against the barrier. I got slammed against the barrier so hard that the button on my shorts broke. And I ended up completely losing my pants. And then a few minutes later, of course, because I'm still dancing and I don't care, because, a Mars show is the best thing in the world. And Jared points to me to come up on stage for Kings and Queens, and security guy goes to pull me out, and pulls me out completely in my underwear. So I ended up on stage, jumping around like a lunatic in a t-shirt and underwear, pretty much directly behind Jay for, the entirety of Kings and Queens. Memorable moment. Really, really awesome. I don't think I'd ever do that again. Just, proof of the love for everything that is Mars and the complete insanity that it is. Memorable moments. Mars 300. All the church shows, particularly Haiti, for all the tears and all the gratitude and all the love. Just so much joy. Every single time I was on stage for Kings and Queens. Every single time. Yeah, they've all just kind of blurred together into this gorgeous thing. Oh, Quebec City, 2011. I had splurged and got the onstage package on that tour for that particular date, and I ended up being the only one who'd gotten the onstage package. So it was me in a little spot, just dancing like a crazy person. And I remember looking down at my feet and seeing Bam Margera just, chilling out. I'm like, okay, this is interesting. And I remember one point where dancing around, just going completely nuts. It was a military themed show, and Toma was wearing this giant furry thing that I don't know actually what it's called, some sort of camouflage thing. And I just remember he came over and gave me the biggest, sweatiest hug at one point, and just so much joy. Joy and gratitude and love, and just so much happy. Infinite, wonderful happy. Remember what was just so much. I don't even know how to put it into words, guys. Just utter joy. My favorite song from This Is War, always Kings and Queens. Because every time I hear it, it immediately brings me back to being on stage, rocking out, jumping around like a complete crazy person with everyone else who's completely sweaty and crazy, completely as nuts as I am. And that's just completely sacred, wonderful joy. My favorite personal story related to this is my best friend and I. My best friend, who I lived with for years in university, and when I first started getting into Mars, and throughout years of me loving you guys, she hated everything to do with you. Every piece of music, every poster, everything. She wouldn't even, come in my room. She just refused because she couldn't stand it. And this was, of course, during Self-Titled and A Beautiful Lie. And when Kings and Queens was released as a single before This Is War actually came out, I remember hearing it and jumping around and crying and jumping around some more. And one day I finally got her to sit down with me and be like, no, this will change your life. Listening to this song will help you understand why I'm here, why I love them so fucking much. And I put it on, and we were both finally just transported. She was a music student, and she was so used to critiquing everything. And we just fell into this gorgeous vortex of the music. And I just remember us staring at each other, and we were both crying, and we didn't even need to talk. We were just telepathically communicating of how fucking amazing it was. And she finally got it. And for years, that was when I think of what is your happiest moment, that was it. Just pure connection with my friend, listening to Kings and Queens. Pure happy. And just thank you. An example of a time when you guys changed my life, other than every day. Oh my God. Probably the most meaningful was right after I came out as transgender. Within a couple of months of my coming out, of my changing my name, my pronouns, everything. But I hadn't been able to receive my script for testosterone yet. I wasn't able to receive the medical transition I needed at that point. And I went to a bunch of shows, and I'd met a bunch of new echelon, made a bunch of new friends, and they all knew me by my chosen name. They all knew me as Will, but I was still androgynous enough that I wasn't being read as my preferred gender. And every single person knew me as Will, but was still using a female pronoun. Every single one of them. My family had, at that moment in time, were not able to accept me. And most of my friends were accepting, but still completely screwing up the pronouns. And it just, at that time period of my life when everything was so new, it was like completely getting kicked in the stomach every single time someone slipped up. And I was really sensitive to it and really insecure. Trying not to be, but being really insecure about it. And at that point in my life, it felt like no one was getting it right. I was, 2, 3, 4 months into transition, and no one was really affirming my choice to self-define, to say that this is who I was. And I ended up going to a few more shows at the time, and just, I hadn't done too much to change my appearance, other than bind my chest. And I know I still looked really androgynous, still pretty feminine, but I was trying. And Jared was the first person of anyone I knew, personally or not at all, to get my pronoun right. I will be forever grateful to you for that, Jared. Forever grateful. And, it's the little things, but it was a huge thing at the time. It still feels like a huge thing, because it was me being seen and known, and that my true self mattered. And even if no one else could see it, you did. You got my pronoun right, calling me up on stage right from the off. So Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That gave me the courage to keep going, to, if not ignore every time the pronoun was wrong since then, but it gave me the courage just to keep going until I was able to get the script that I needed, until I was able to medically transition, until I was able to have surgery and become the person that I am today. And it's the little things. It's the joy of being present, flowing in the music at a show, and just knowing that I am seen and I am known and I am understood. So, thank you. I think my proudest achievement would have to be, today, having top surgery. For the record, that's a double mastectomy with nipple grafts, and it was a huge surgery. I paid out of pocket, and okay, yeah, it's just a body thing. But for years, there was so much dysphoria, there was so much pain, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual anguish around the body that I was in, the way I was perceived by others, the way I perceived myself, the way I wanted to be seen, and the discrepancies between who I felt I was and who I was being seen as. And when I finally, saved up after over a year of year and a half of saving to be able to pay for the surgery, and just being able to go to the surgeon I wanted, and that feeling of, it felt like the giant elephant was just lifted off my body, that I could take a full breath in without it hurting, that I didn't have to bind anymore, and I didn't have gouges in my sides from how tight the binding was, and I could run, and I could move, and I could stretch, and I could breathe. I could take a full breath in and not have it hurt. And that was one of those things that you don't realize how much pain you're in until the pain is actually gone. And I could just, coming out of surgery and just crying for, what felt like days, because I could breathe and I could see, and I could just see my life stretching out before me, every single piece of it. Every dream, everything that I wanted to do was now possible because my body was in alignment with my true self, with the soul of my being. And yeah, just gratitude. So much gratitude. I love you guys. I love you so, so much. Just thank you. Thank you for everything. Thank you for every hug and every conversation. And every creativity, for everything that you do and everything that you are. Thank you for the inspiration. Thank you, Jared, for Rayon, for every little bit that you did in helping me, inspire me to be in alignment with who I really am. So, thank you. I love you. I'm so grateful for you, for this community, for everything. that 30 Seconds to Mars is. Love and squish.